Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today is another festival. We had Lord Vamanada's appearance day on Friday. Yesterday was Bhaktivinoda Thakur appearance day. And today is the disappearance day of Srila Haridas Thakur. So it's three festivals, one after another. And I really appreciated Ladini Shakti's class in celebration of Lord Vamanadev, and then Anandini and Finance presentation yesterday of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's life, and also his wonderful prayer commenting on the Shikshastakam. And so today we are going to speak about Haridas Thakur and Haridas Thakur is a very significant Acharya. It's called Nama Acharya, the Acharya of the Holy Name. And what's very significant about Haridas Thakur is that he was born in a Muslim family at a time where there was such a segregation between the so-called Hindus, caste Brahman following, so-called following the Veda, and then the Muslim. And the fact that the Vaishnava in general, the Vaishnava who understood Vaishnavism, they had no such segregation. They knew that a Vaishnava is a Vaishnava, a Brahman, and can become an Acharya, not by birth, but by qualification. And Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family, and a meditator family, and very, very early in age, he became attracted to the holy name, and he was chanting the holy name of the Lord on the bank of the Ganges in Shantipur. And Haridas Thakur so is showing how Vaishnavism have no barrier and no caste, that even Yavanas like us, like lower than Shudras, and that we can also be Vaishnavas. That even so we are born in families with no culture, most of us, we are born in family where we didn't learn so much about God or serving God, or about what is the goal of life. Even though we have only disqualification, Lord Chaitanya is bringing him to him, and through the agency of Srila Prabhupada. So I will say more about Haridas Thakur, but right now I would just like to start our reading. So we are going to read today from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 11, entitled The Passing of Haridas Thakur. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Someone would like to do the response? Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna. Om Agyanatimantasya Gyanachalachalakya Chakshunmitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamini. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pacharini. Nirveseshya Shunyavadi Paskachati Jatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. now allowed for Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. He wanted people to sing very loud. In fact, once he was asked why chanting loud, and he said, why chant loudly, not silently? And Haridas Thakur said, like, when you chant silently, you only benefit yourself. And when you chant loud, you benefit all the living entities surrounding you. So that was the mood of Haridas Thakur. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Krishna. And Haridas Thakur here came to us like in the spring, and it was very special for a full week. We knew he was coming, and it was very special awaiting for such great personality to enter our house. So I wanted to introduce you to this person. Okay, so chapter 11, the passing of Haridas Thakur. There is a summary. The summary of the chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya as follows. In this chapter, Brahma Haridas Thakur gave up his body with the consent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord himself personally performed the funeral ceremony and carried the body to the sea. He personally entombed the body, covered it with sand, and erected a platform on the site. After taking bath in the sea, he personally begged prasad of Jagannath from shopkeepers and distributed prasad to the assembled devotees. So we'll see how far we go. And I'm just going to read, mainly I'm going to read the English, but sometimes I may read the Bengali or the Sanskrit. So, Namami Haridas Samtam Chetanyatam Chatat Prabhum Samstitam Apiyan Murtim Swanke Kritva Nanartaya. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Haridas Thakur and his master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who danced with the body of Haridas Thakur on his lap. This is Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami speaking. Jaya Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Daya Maya Jai Vedkriya Nityananda Kriya Jai. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is very merciful and who is very dear to Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda. Jaya Srinivaseshvara Haridas Natha Jaya Gadadhara Priya Swarupananatha. All glories to the master of Srinivas Thakur. All glories to the master of Haridas Thakur. All glories to the dear master of Gadadhar Pandit. All glories to the master of the life of Swarup Damodar. Jai Kashi Priya Jagadanda Praneshvara Jai Rupa Sanatan Raghunateshvara. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya, who is very dear to Kashi Mishra. He is the Lord of the life of Jagannanda and the Lord of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. Jai Gora Deha Krishna Swayam Bhagavan Kripakari Deha Prabhu Nija Padadan. All glories to the transcendental form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My dear Lord, kindly give me shelter at your lotus feet by your causeless mercy. Jai Nityananda Chandra Jaya Chaitanya Rapan Tomaraja Vinde Bhakti Deadan. All glories to Lord Nityananda, who is the life and soul of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My dear Lord, kindly give me engagement in devotional service at your lotus feet. So we can see the mood of Krishna Das Kaviraj is glorifying the devotees of the Lord, glorifying Haridas Thakur, also begging for mercy after he glorifies the Lord and his devotees. He's begging for the mercy and he's begging for engagement, he's begging for devotional service. Jai Jai Veta Chandra Chaitanya Arya Swacharane Bhakti Deha Jai Veta Charya. All glories to Advaita Charya, who is treated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as superior due to his age and respectability. Please give me engagement in devotional service at your lotus feet. Jai Goa Bhakta Gana Goayana Hapana Sabha Bhakta Milimora Bhakti Dehadana. All glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the Lord is their life and soul. All of you kindly bestow devotional service upon me. Jai Rupa Sanat Shiva Raghunatha Gopal Chai Moranatha. All glories to Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhat Goswami, Gopal Bhat Goswami is the sixth Goswami of Vrindavan. They are all my masters. Esava Prashad Like, Chaitanya Lila Guna, Yachetai Cheli Kikari, Apana Pavana. I am writing this narration of the pastime and attribute of the Lord by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. I do not know how to write properly, but I am purifying myself by writing this description. So when the Lord asks us to do something, we may not know how to do it properly. And at the same time, we can have the same, like, I'm just going to do it for my purification. Emata Mahaprabhu Nilad Shalivasa, Sange Bhakta Ganalana Kirtan Vilasa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus resided at Jagannath Puri with his personal devotees and enjoyed the conventional chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In the daytime, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in dancing and chanting and seeing the temple of Lord Jagannath. At night, in the company of his most confidential devotees, such as Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar Goswami, he tasted the nectar of the transcendental mellow of Lord Sri Krishna's pastime. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very happily passed his days in this way at Nilachala Jagannath Puri. Feeling separation from Krishna, he exhibited many transcendental symptoms all over his body. Day after day, the symptoms increased, and at night, they increased even more. All these symptoms, such as transcendental anxiety, agitation, talking like a madman, were present just as they are described in the Shastra. Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy, the chief assistants in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, remained with him both day and night. One day, Govinda, the personal servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went in great jubilation to deliver the remnants of Lord Jagannath's food to Haridas Thakur. When Govinda came to Haridas, he saw that Haridas Thakur was lying on his back and chanting his round very loudly. So that's also very significant that Swarup Damodar, with the personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya, is going personally, he's taking the time to go and get prasadam from the temple to bring it to Haridas Thakur. When Haridas Thakur arrived in Jagannath Puri, the Lord personally found a place, a secluded place for him, because it was the desire of Haridas Thakur to be alone in a secluded place, not far. And also what's significant here is, according to the caste Brahman, only Brahman, like people who are born Indian, Hindus, can enter the Jagannath temple. And because Haridas Thakur was born a Mohammedan, he wasn't authorized to go there. And for himself, he accepted that he have a low birth, and he, from his natural humility, he was accepting that. And Lord Chaitanya, what he did, he personally said, like, I'm going to come and visit you every day. And every day, Lord Chaitanya was making sure that Haridas Thakur was receiving the Mahaprasadam from the temple. So we can see that even though he couldn't enter the Jagannath temple, then he was visited by Lord Jagannath, like Lord Chaitanya is Lord Jagannath. He was visited by Lord Jagannath every day. Hare Krishna. So so Damodar asked, you know, what's so he said, please rise and take your Mahaprashadam, Govinda said. Haridas Thakur replied, no, was Govinda, Govinda also is personal servant of Lord Chaitanya. Today I shall, and Haridas Thakur replied, today I shall observe fasting. I have not finished chanting my regular number of rounds. How then can I eat? But you have brought Mahaprashadam. How can I neglect it? That's a dilemma for a devotee. Etabali Mahaprashad Karila Vandan, Ekaron Shalanatara, Karila Bakshan. Saying this, he offered prayer to the Mahaprashad, took a little portion and ate it. And Srila Prabhupada's purport is purporting on Mahaprasad, and I thought it was relevant for us to hear. Mahaprasad is non-different from Krishna. Therefore, instead of eating Mahaprasad, one should honor it. It is said here, Karila Vandan, he offered prayers. When taking Mahaprasad, one should not consider the food ordinary preparation. Prasad means favor. One should consider Mahaprasad a favor of Krishna. As stated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Krishna Bodhadoya Mo Karibari Jivajal Shwa Prasad Anadelabai. Krishna is very kind. In this material world, we are all very attached to tasting various types of food. Therefore, Krishna eats many nice varieties of food and offers the food back to the devotees, so that not only are one's demands for various tastes satisfied, but by eating prasad, he makes advancement in spiritual life. Therefore, we should never consider ordinary food on an equal level with Mahaprasad. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Haridas' place and inquired from him, Haridas, are you well? Haridas offered his obeisances to the Lord and replied, my body is all right, but my mind and intelligence are not well. That's his humility. Prabhukare kovyadi kahata nirnaya penokare sankhya kirtana puraya. Sri Chaitanya further inquired from Haridas, can you ascertain what your disease is? Haridas Thakur replied, my disease is that I cannot complete my rounds. If one cannot complete the fixed number of rounds he is assigned, he should be considered to be in a diseased condition of spiritual life. Srila Haridas Thakur is called Namacharya. Of course, we cannot imitate Haridas Thakur, but everyone must chant a prescribed number of rounds. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have fixed 16 rounds as a minimum so that the Westerns will not feel burdened. These 16 rounds must be chanted and chanted loudly so that one can hear himself and others. Haridas Thakur, he was chanting 300,000 names of Krishna. And I think Dear Govinda did the calculation is 120 rounds a day. So chanting loudly, and for the Westerners, and I can see like myself, like since I'm not getting up in the morning, yeah, I should admit that. So I get up late because whatever reason I have so-called good reason for it. But really, I don't have any reason. And I can see that my days are so different from like when I get up early and I chant all my rounds early, or not all, but most of the rounds very early in the morning, versus like chanting later on in the day or even later on in the morning. And then the 16 is so significant my mind is like, I know my mind is restless. And if I don't chant 16 rounds a day, my mind just take over. And so it's very significant that Prabhupada gave us that number. Somehow that's the minimum he suggests that we chant. And for those who receive initiation, it's not a suggestion, it's an order. Chant 16 rounds a day, at least. And at least means like it's a minimum for Westerner. So we continue. Prabhukai Vrindahai Sankhya Alpaka Sida Deha Tumisadane Agraha Kenekara. Now that you have become old, the Lord said, you may reduce the number of rounds you chant daily. You are already liberated. And therefore, you need not follow the regulative principle very strictly. So the Lord is so much affectionate towards Haridas Thakur. And purport, unless one has come to the platform of spontaneous love of God, he must follow the regulative principles. Unless one has come to the platform of spontaneous love of God, he must follow the regulative principles. Thakur Haridas was a living example of how to follow the regulative principles. Similarly, Raghunath Das Goswami was also such a living example. In the Sat Goswami Astaka, it is stated, Sankhya Purvakana Magananatibi Kalas Vasani Krito. Goswami, especially Raghunath Das Goswami, strictly followed all the regulative principles. The first regulative principle is that one must chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra loudly enough so that he can hear himself, and one must vow to chant a fixed number of rounds. Not only was Raghunath Das Goswami chanting a fixed number of rounds, but he had also taken a vow to bow down many times and offer obeisances to the Lord. So he had a vow, and when we sing in the morning, we sing Yasya Prashada or Bhagavad Prashada. Yasya Prashada Nagati Kutopi Kayam Stuvam Stasya Yasya Stri Sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanam. So Yasya Stri Sandhyam. So in that song we say, I'm going to offer obeisances to the spiritual master at least 3 times a day. At least 3 times a day we can bow down before the spiritual master. And through that very practice, we'll make a lot of advancement, we'll be blessed by the spiritual master. Lokanastarite et tomar avatar, namera mahima loke karila prachar. Your role in this incarnation is to deliver the people in general. You have sufficiently preached the glories of the holy name in this world. Purport. Haridas Thakur is known as Namacharya because it is he who preached the glories of chanting Harinama, the holy name of God, by using the words Tomar Avatar, your incarnation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed that Haridas Thakur is the incarnation of Lord Brahma. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that advanced devotees help the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his mission, and as such, devotees or personal associates incarnate by the will of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord incarnates by his own will, and by his will, competent devotees also incarnate to help him in his mission. Haridas Thakur is thus the incarnation of Lord Brahma, and other devotees are likewise incarnation who helps in the prosecution of the Lord's mission. The Lord concluded, now therefore, please reduce the fixed number of time you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Haridas Thakur replied, can you hear my real plea? So now we come to the real issue, through his humility, like I'm not chanting my rounds, his body is weak and he's feeling unwell. But now he said, here is my real. What's really happening inside of me that creating my sickness and my disease. I was born in an inferior family and my body is most abominable. I always engage in low work. Therefore, I am the lowest, most condemned of men. That's his true feeling. I am unseeable and untouchable, but you have accepted me as your servant. This means that you have delivered me from an hellish condition and raised me to the Vaikuntha platform. So, in his humility, Haridas Thakur also glorified Lord Chaitanya's mercy. My dear Lord, you are the fully independent personality of Godhead. You act by your own free will. You cause the whole world to dance and act as you like. Eneka Naichaila Mora Prashadam Kariya, Vipreras Shada Patra, Kainum Let Shahana. My dear Lord, by your mercy, you have made me dance in many ways. For example, I was offered the Shraddha Patra that should have been offered to first-class Brahman. I had from it, even though I was born in a family of meat-eaters. There is purport from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhasya quote from the Vishnu Smriti in reference to Shraddha Patra. Brahmana prashada yete katita pankti dushaka etan vivarjayat yatnat shraddha karmani panditaha. According to this verse, if one is born in a Brahman family but does not behave according to the Brahminical standards, he should not be offered the Shraddha Patra, which is prashad offered to the forefathers. Advaitacharya offers the Shraddha Patra to Haridas Thakur, not to a Brahman who had been born in a Brahman family. Also, Haridas Thakur was born in a family of meat-eater. Because he was an advanced devotee, he was shown more respect than a first-class Brahman. Srila Advaitacharya is like when Haridas Thakur was chanting in his youth, he met Advaitacharya in Shantipur, and Advaitacharya and Haridas Thakur associated a lot, and Advaitacharya in fact gave him the name Haridas, and the two of them, they kind of comploted their plan to bring Lord Chaitanya. Of course, Advaitacharya is the one who was praying, and Haridas Thakur also was praying for Lord Chaitanya to descend, for the Lord to descend to save the fallen soul. We continue. Like Haridas Thakur is getting to the real problem or the real issue that he has. I have had one desire for a very long time. I think that quite soon, my Lord, you will bring to a close your pastime within this material world. I wish that you not show me this closing chapter of your pastime. Before that time comes, kindly let my body fall down in your presence. I wish to catch your lotus feet upon my heart and see your moon-like face. With my tongue, I shall chant your holy name, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. That is my desire. Kindly let me give up my body in this way. O most merciful Lord, if by your mercy it is possible, kindly grant my desire. Let this low-born body fall down before you. You can make possible this perfection of all my desires. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Haridas, Krishna is so merciful that he must execute whatever you want. But whatever happiness is mine is all due to your association. It is not fitting for you to go away and leave me aside. So there is so much affection of the Lord for Haridas Thakur and Haridas Thakur for the Lord. Catching the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur said, my Lord, do not create an illusion. Also, I am so fallen. You must certainly show me this mercy. My Lord, there are many respectable personalities millions of devotees who are fit to sit on my head. They are all helpful in your pastimes. My Lord, if an insignificant insect like me dies, what is a loss? If an ant dies, where is the loss to the material world? My Lord, you are always affectionate to your devotees. I am just an imitation devotee, but nevertheless, I wish that you will fulfill my desire. That is my expectation. I'm just an imitation devotee. It could be another contract like we were speaking yesterday about. Because he had to perform his known duties, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up to leave, but it was settled that the following day, after he saw Lord Jagannath, he will return to visit Haridas Thakur. After embracing him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left to perform his known duty and went to the sea to take his bath. The next morning, after visiting the Jagannath temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accompanied by all his other devotees, came hastily to see Haridas Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the other devotees came before Haridas Thakur, who offered his respects to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, "My dear Haridas, what is the news?" Haridas Thakur replied, "My Lord, whatever mercy you can bestow upon me." Upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately began great congregational chanting in the courtyard. Vakreshwar Pandit was a sheep dancer. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Led by Swarup Damodar Goswami, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu surrounded Haridas Thakur and began congregational chanting. In front of all the great devotees like Ramanandara and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to describe the holy attributes of Haridas Thakur. As he described the transcendental attributes of Haridas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seems to possess 5 mouths. The more he described, the more his great happiness increased. After hearing of the transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur, all the devotees present were struck with wonder. They all offered their respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down in front of him, and then he fixed his eyes, like 2 bumblebees, on the lotus face of the Lord. He held the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his heart and then took the dust of the feet of all the devotees present and put it on his head. He began to chant the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya again and again as he drank the sweetness of the face of the Lord. Tears constantly glided down from his eyes. While chanting the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, he gave up his air of life and left his body. Seeing the wonderful death of Haridas Thakur by his own will, which was just like a great mystic yogi, everyone remembered the passing away of Bhishma. There was a tumultuous noise as they all chanted the holy name, Hari and Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became overwhelmed with ecstatic love. The Lord raised the body of Haridas and placed it on his lap. Then he began to dance in the courtyard in great ecstatic love. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ecstatic love, all the devotees were helpless, and in ecstatic love, they also began to dance and chant congregationally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced for some time, and then Swarup Damodar Goswami informed him of other ritual for the body of Haridas Thakur. The body of Haridas Thakur was then raised unto a carrier, then resembled an airship, and taken to the sea accompanied by congregational chanting. What a beautiful scene. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in front of the procession, and Vakeshwar Pandit, along with the other devotees, chanting and dance behind him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed the body of Haridas Thakur in the sea and then declared, "From this day on, this sea has become a great pilgrimage site. Everyone drank the water that had touched the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, and then they smeared remnants of Lord Jagannath's sandalwood pulp over Haridas Thakur's body. After a hole was dug in the sand, the body of Haridas Thakur was placed in it. Remnants of Lord Jagannath, such as his silken robes, sandalwood pulps, food, and clothes, were placed on the body. All around the body, the devotee performed congregational chanting, and Vakeshwar Pandit danced in jubilation. With his transcendental hands, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally covered the body of Haridas Thakur with sand, chanting, "Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol." They covered the body of Haridas Thakur with sand and then constructed a platform upon the side. The platform was protected all around by fencing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and chanted all around the platform, and as the holy name of Hari roared tumultuously, the whole universe became filled with the vibration. After Sankirtan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in the sea with his devotees, swimming and playing in the water in great jubilation. After circumambulating the tomb of Haridas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Simhadwar gate at the Jagannath temple. The whole city chanted in congregation, and the tumultuous sound vibrated all over the city. Approaching the Simhadwar gate, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread his clothes and began to beg prasads from the shopkeeper. So Sri Chaitanya Prabhu is just in the mood of a devotee. He lost Haridas Thakur and he go and beg from the shopkeeper, give me prasadam. I am begging prasad for a festival honoring the pastime away of Haridas Thakur, the Lord said. Please give me alms. Hearing this, all the shopkeepers immediately came forward with big basket of prasad, which they jubilantly delivered to Lord Chaitanya. However, Swarup Damodar stopped them, and the shopkeepers returned to their shop and sat down with their baskets. Swarup Damodar sent Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to his residence and kept with him 4 Vaishnavas and 4 servant carriers. Swarup Damodar said to all the shopkeepers, "Deliver me 4 palmfuls of prasad from each and every item." In this way, varieties of prasad were collected, then packed up in different loads and carried on the head of 4 servants. Not only did Swarup Damodar Goswami bring prasad, but Vaninath Patayaka, as well as Kashi Mishra, sent large quantities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made all the devotees sit in rows and personally began to distribute the prasad, assisted by 4 other men. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not accustomed to taking prasad in small quantities. He therefore put on each plate what at least 5 men could eat. We don't have Govinda Prabhu here, but we can remember him, how happy he will be to hear that. So Damodar Goswami requesting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Please sit down and watch, which these men to help me. I shall distribute the prasad." The 4 men, Swarup, Jagannananda, Kashishwara, and Sakara, distributed the prasad continuously. All the devotee who sat down would not accept the prasad as long as the Lord had not eaten. On that day, however, Kashi Mishra had extended an invitation to the Lord. Therefore, Kashi Mishra personally went there and delivered prasad to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great attention and made him eat. with Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down and accepted the prasad. When he began to eat, so did all the Vaishnavas. Everyone was filled up to the neck because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept telling the distributor, give them more, give them more. After all the devotees finished accepting prasad and had washed their hands and mouths, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decorated each of them with a flower garland and sandalwood pulp. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the benediction. Anyone who has seen the festival of Sri Haridas Thakur's passing away, anyone who has chanted and danced here, anyone who has offered sand on the body of Haridas Thakur, and anyone who has joined this festival to partake of the prasad will achieve the favor of Krishna very soon. There is such a wonderful power in seeing Haridas Thakur. Being merciful upon me, Krishna gave me the association of Haridas Thakur. Being independent in his desires, he has now broken the association. When Haridas Thakur wanted to leave this material world, it was not within my power to detain him. Simply by his will, Haridas Thakur could give up his life and go away, exactly like Bhishma, who previously died simply by his own desire, as we have heard from Shastra. Haridas Thakur was a crown jewel on the head of this world. Without him, this world is now bereft of its valuable jewel. Sri Chaitanya Prabhu then told everyone, say, all glories to Haridas Thakur, and chant the holy name of Hari. Saying this, he personally began to dance. Everyone began to chant, all glories to Haridas Thakur, who received the importance of chanting the holy name of, revealed the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bid farewell to all the devotees, and he himself, with mixed feeling of happiness and distress, took rest. Thus I have spoken, that's Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami speaking. Thus I have spoken about the victorious passing away of Haridas Thakur. Anyone who hears this narration will certainly fix his mind firmly in devotional service to Krishna. Let's see, what time is it? I will read the purport to this one. I will repeat. Thus I have spoken about the victorious passing away of Haridas Thakur. Anyone who hears this narration will certainly fix his mind firmly in devotional service to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's purport. At Purushottama Kshetra, or Jagannath Puri, there is a temple of Tota Gopinath. By the way, Tota Gopinath is one temple in Jagannath Puri that Westerners can go to. And I have heard about him, and I look forward to be in and visit the Tota Gopinath temple. If one goes from there to the sea, he can discover the tomb of Haridas Thakur still existing. Every year on the date of Ananta Chaturdasi, there is a festival to commemorate the passing away of Haridas Thakur. At the same place, three deities of Nityananda, Krishna Chaitanya, and Advaita Babu were established about 100 years ago. A gentleman named Brahmaravara from Ketrapad in the province of Orissa contributed funds to establish these deities in the temple. The management of the temple was under the Tota Gopinath Goswamis. This temple was later sold to someone else, and this party is now maintaining the Seva Puja of the temple. Near this temple is the tomb of Haridas Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur constructed a small house called Bhakti Kuti. In the Bengali year of 1329, Purushottam Math, a branch of the Gaudiya Math, was established there. In the Bhakti Ratnakara, it is said, Srinivas Shringa Samudrera Kulegela Haridas Thakurera Samadhi Dekila Bhumite Padiya Kaila Pranati Vishtava Bhagavata Gana Shri Shamadhisani Dane Srinivas Tira Kaila Shasneha Vachane Puna Srinivas Shri Samati Pranamiya Ye Vipala Kaila Tasunile Taviya. Haridas Thakur quickly ran to the seashore. When he saw the tomb of Haridas Thakur, he immediately fell down offering prayers and almost fainted. The devotee's presence there pacified him with very sweet and affectionate words, and Srinivas again offered his obeisance to the tomb, hearing of the separation that Srinivas expressed in his lamentation at the tomb of Haridas, make one's heart melt. So let's pray that we could have this kind of devotion that as soon as we arrive at the tomb of Haridas Thakur, we will fall down and cry for the loss of Haridas Thakur in this world. Of course, Haridas Thakur is always present with us. He's supporting us and he's so happy if we chant attentively the holy name of the Lord. And he wants us to develop the test for chanting, hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. From the incident of Haridas Thakur's passing away and the great care Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took in commemorating it, one can understand just how affectionate he is toward his devotees. Although he is the topmost of all sannyasis, he fully satisfied the desire of Haridas Thakur. At the last stage of Haridas Thakur's life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him his company and allowed him to touch him. Thereafter, he took the body of Haridas Thakur on his lap and personally danced with it. Out of his causeless mercy, he personally covered the body of Haridas Thakur with sand and personally begged alms from the shopkeepers. Then he conducted a great festival to celebrate the passing away of Haridas Thakur. Mahabhagavata Haridas Paramavidvam Eso Bhagya Lagyage Karila Prayana. Haridas Thakur was not only the topmost devotee of the Lord, but also a great and learned scholar. It was his great fortune that he passed away before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport: Haridas Thakur is mentioned here as the most learned scholar, Paramavidvam. Actually, the most important science to know is the science of getting out of the clutches of material existence. Anyone who knows this science must be considered the greatest learned person, anyone who knows the temporary situation of this material world and is expert in achieving a permanent situation in the spiritual world, who knows that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is beyond the jurisdiction of our experimental knowledge, is understood to be the most learned scholar. Haridas Thakur knew this science perfectly. Therefore, he is described in this connection as Paramavidvam. He personally preached the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, which is approved by the revealed scriptures. As stating in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7:5-24, Iti pumsa pita Vishnu bhaktisena valakshana kriyeta bhagavatyada tanmanye dilam uttamam. There are 9 different processes of devotional service to Krishna, the most important being Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing and chanting. Haridas Thakur knew this science very well, and he can therefore be called technically Sarva Shastraditi, anyone who has learned the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. He is to be known as a first-class educated person with full knowledge of all Shastra. The life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are exactly like an ocean of nectar, one drop of which can please the mind and hear. Anyone who desires to cross over the ocean of nations Please hear with great faith the life and characteristic of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus, and the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila 11th chapter, describing the passing of Haridas Thakur. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I have more I could share about Srila Haridas Thakur, and at the same time, I want to hear from you what's happening for you, and if you want to share anything about Haridas Thakur, or you have any question, comments. Hare Krishna. Every day we sing his glory, isn't it? Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Right.
It's so important that Srila Prabhupada, make sure that we sing his holy name every day. Hare Krishna.
I have a question.
Hare Krishna, yes.
I didn't. You said something about the dear Govinda would be happy that this was mentioned, and I didn't follow what was was it town or temple or something like that?
No, it's because when Lord Chaitanya was offering prasad, he couldn't offer prasad in small quantity. So it is said that he was offering, I'm looking for the exact quote. It says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not accustomed to taking prasadam in small quantity. He therefore put on each plate what at least 5 men could eat.
Oh.
So that's when I referred, because that's the kind of joke and pastime with dear Govinda Prabhu that he often loved prasad pastime, and this kind of comment he's happy to hear, because he loves serving big quantity of prasad. If you have ever taken breakfast at dear Govinda Prabhu's house, you know what's the big prasadam plate you're going to get. Hare Krishna.
One other question.
Yes.
Is he with the devotee out doing in Phoenix doing a program or something? Where is he?
Well, I like questions that's related directly to Haridas Thakur. Dear Govinda Prabhu is right now teaching, facilitating a course in Denver, and hopefully, I'm sure his mind is absorbed in Haridas Thakur and how to give the holy name of the Lord to all the participants in the seminar. Hare Krishna.
Isn't Parampara with him?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I would like to really focus on Haridas Thakur. Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
thank you.
There is yes, Len Cohen Prabhu. Yes, Hare Krishna Bhakta Len.
Hare Krishna. I don't have a question, but I just have a comment that the 2 things that really strike me about this chapter. Number one, that Haridas Thakur knew when Lord Chaitanya was going to be leaving this material world. So he had knowledge of the future, the present, the past too, probably. So he was already in some kind of amazing transcendental space. And of course, the other thing that he was able to control the time of his death, like Bhishma, and some other great mystic yogis. This is another mystic city, right? I guess that you can actually pick the time that you're going to leave your physical body. And he wanted to do it before Lord Chaitanya left his body, because he couldn't bear not being around Lord Chaitanya anymore. So those are the two things that are pretty remarkable to me, and which, yeah, I didn't really, yeah, I'm glad to reacquaint myself with this pastime about Haridas Thakur.
Mhm. Nice. Yeah, thank you for sharing your comments, Magdalene. This year, Mother Govinda Dasi, she's a early disciple who got to also directly serve Srila Prabhupada when Prabhupada appeared and stayed on earth. She wrote a Vyasa Puja offering, and the main part of her Vyasa Puja offering is to present how Srila Prabhupada was Trikalagya, that he could see past, present, and future. And she gave a lot of examples how Prabhupada predicted so many things that are happening right now in the world. And yeah, like a pure devotee, Haridas Thakur, he could see, he knew the pastime of the Lord, and he could sense like, okay, the future is Lord Chaitanya is going to leave very soon. And I imagine like this is the end of the last part of the Lord's pastime. So I don't know exactly the timing, but my sense is that just a few years, or maybe not even, according to all the pastimes on the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's the volume before last of the 17. And so Haridas Thakur knew, and then he knew that his desire was to not participate in the final pastime of Lord Chaitanya. And he wanted to really, because he felt so low, being born in such a low body like that, he felt so low that he really wanted to make sure that he's seeing the Lord with his eyes and touches his lotus feet as he's leaving his body. And that's quite amazing, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that he had, there is a verse in the chapter 11 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a study, whereas Lord Chaitanya is glorifying Haridas Thakur. I thought I had it on my notes. Let's see if I have it on my notes to exactly quote. Oh yes, I have it. It's Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 11:190. It said, glorify Chaitanya exalted Haridas Thakur, stating, at every moment you take your bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. At every moment you perform great sacrifices, austerity, and charity. You are constantly studying the four Veda, and you are better than any Brahmins or sannyas. So just Haridas Thakur, by being a pure devotee, then yeah, you have all the mystic, the quality of a mystic, the quality of a brahmana, the quality of someone who do austerity all day and bathes with all bathes in all the holy river all the time. So that's Lord Chaitanya really loved glorifying Haridas Thakur. He really loved. Of course, he saw Haridas Thakur as a senior because he was almost contemporary with Advaitacharya. Haridas Thakur was 35 years old when Lord Chaitanya was born. So he was right there. He was 35 years old. So he was already quite a mature adult. You know, in India, 35 it's really mature at that time. And yeah, so he was senior to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya, part of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, even in his childhood. Krishna, anything else? Any comments or questions, sharing? Kim? Hi, Krishna. Kim, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. It was very beautiful. It was touching to hear. The part that I thought was really when he called himself how did he put it? Imposter devotee or a pretending devotee? What was his word?
Yeah, something like that. Imposter, maybe.
Yeah.
Word. Yeah.
Yeah, I resonated with that in the sense that I can't imagine him feeling that way, but you know, like a lot of times you can go through the movement or the, you know, the outward movements, and then inside feel that way. So I don't know, that just touched me when he said that, even though I
Yeah,
can't imagine him thinking that, but yeah. But anyway, thank you. It was very beautiful.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, humility is very touching, and that he doesn't feel like he's even a devotee. I'm trying to find the exact quote, but I'm not finding it. Yeah. Thank you, Damayanti.
Thank you for the class. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna.
I was really touched by how Lord Chaitanya didn't have any power. And he, you know, really wanted to fulfill the desires of his devotee. And for a moment I thought, oh, I don't know, you know, maybe Lord Chaitanya or maybe Srila Prabhupada feels that way towards me. I could pray to them, you know, like help. So that's all. Just I felt, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes, just the idea of like, oh, like these Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada are actually in my life, and I think that they probably actually really genuinely care about me, and I don't always connect with that, like, oh, you really care, maybe I could even pray, you know. When I need help, I mean, you know, I mean spiritual, like I do need help, and I don't feel strong, you know, and I'm really touched by this path of devotional service in my heart of hearts, even though I'm a conditioned soul. So yeah, I felt touched, like, oh, maybe there's, you know, enough compassion for me, and maybe I could pray to these personalities.
Mm.
That's all.
Thank you, Damayanti, for sharing. Like you're touched by Lord Chaitanya's benevolence of really wanting to fulfill the desire of Haridas, even so he didn't like the idea of Haridas Thakur not being with him for his pastime. At least that's what he's experiencing or expressing, and how benevolent and how he is eager to fulfill the desire of his devotees. And you can be connected with like, oh, Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, they're also eager to fulfill my desire, my spiritual desire, and to support me in my spiritual desire. So I can approach them the same way Haridas Thakur approached the Lord with his desire. I can too approach my Lord and Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada with my spiritual desire, with my desire. And they are eager to fulfill them and to see that, yeah, they are there for me. They are there for all of us, fully loving the way the Lord loves. It's so like complete love for us. We are his part and parcel. His love is unmeasurable, unfathomable for each of us. Yeah. Thank you, Damayanti. I love your sharing. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Ladini Shakti, will you have something you'd like to share?
Yes, I do. Hare Krishna. Well, I will lower my hand. Yes. Well, thank you very much for this presentation, Mother Malini. I appreciate it a lot. I heard it before on Haridas Thakur disappearances, and I always miss this part that Damayanti just highlighted. Like, I always got like, okay, so Haridas Thakur is like getting old and sick, cannot chant his rounds, and leaves his body. And I kind of always miss this conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Haridas Thakur about like Haridas Thakur actually like feeling that Lord Chaitanya is about to leave, and that's what's making his sickness. Like he's already like, just imagine the separation from Lord Chaitanya is just like sick, and he wants to leave for us. So that's really painful. I can relate on material level. I cannot relate on the spiritual level, but I can relate on the material level. It's really painful. And how like Lord Chaitanya also like feels like, I don't want to leave before, like I don't want to stay after Haridas Thakur leaves. And then he's like, but like, what can I do? Because Krishna will fulfill Krishna, that's Lord Chaitanya himself anyway, but Krishna will fulfill the desire of his devotee, and this is what like Haridas Thakur is wishing for. So I'm powerless. So, but then also like when Haridas Thakur leaves, like Lord Chaitanya is like he's having pain, but also he's happy. Like he has some happiness for like being able to fulfill Haridas Thakur's desire in like more than what Haridas Thakur asked for, he got. So he was so happy to like that he was able to give Haridas Thakur, his dear devotee, what his wish was. So it was all really touching, this reading. And then today, like I was feeling all day like the blessing of, I think like these 3 days of like one great personality after another. And today I've been just feeling like so much like blessing with the influence of Haridas Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bali Maharaj, and just I felt like I felt so blissful and so grateful for my services and abundance that Krishna provides. Like I walk in our neighborhood and there is like growing so many things, like wild fruits and so many things. And I'm like, wow, there's just like so much abundance of service, so much abundance of like provide what Krishna provides, and so much mercy. And even though I did my japa in the bed again, it was like more quality japa. And I was thinking, guys, like Haridas Thakur is like really like present today. Of course, he's present every day, but it's a special day for us to remember him and have like, anyway, so thank you for that. It was really nice. And the last thing I want to say is like a few years ago, you were doing like Wednesdays. It was like a Wednesday morning program, but it was shorter, and we were reading Bhagavad Gita and like taking turns reading verses, and it felt like really like online, like more like online setup and intimate. And I'm like, these 3 days like remind me of that time. I really like these Wednesdays. So that's like a glimpse of that pastime.
Yeah, thank you, Aladin Shakti, for your sharing. And yeah,
Some little bit of
Kim, okay. Yeah, like really diving into the pastime and really getting the nuances in this pastime of the real disease for Haridas Thakur is not that his body doesn't get up. It's not even like he say, I cannot chant my round and like that. But the real disease that he's experiencing is like being agitated by the ideas that Lord Chaitanya's pastime are going to be closing soon. And that's his choice. That's his choice. And now Lord Chaitanya Krishna is fulfilling that desire. And then yes, Lord Chaitanya is in jubilation. Like there is, it's like that in spiritual life. In material life, it seems that emotion are just close-ended, let's say, like, okay, death is bad, but in spiritual life, there is so much nuances. Like I was speaking with Mother Nanda last night, and she was sharing about the passing away of her husband, Ravi Nakshaprabhu, and the moment he was like we all were involved with kirtan and everything there, and the moment he passed away, and she was sharing that, yeah, because of the spiritual life, it's the mix of emotion that she experienced, because the great jubilation or the great sense of like almost ecstasy was mixed with the sadness. And Lord Chaitanya is really showing that he has separation and he has jubilation, and there is that great desire. He's embracing the body of Haridas. He's dancing with the body of Haridas in joy and tears. And so like spiritual life seems to have so much nuances and emotion and color that material life is like more black and white, and then the real colors exist in the spiritual sky, in the spiritual world. Thank you for sharing. And you're appreciating the 3-day festival. Like we are meeting every day for glorifying the Lord, glorifying a devotee of the Lord. And then it feels very intimate and close to do that every day. Hare Krishna, thank you. Anandini? Prabhu, would you like to share something?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I also wanted to share my appreciation for these 3 days. It has a great impact on me to focus on these personalities. I was thinking it's like, like before I knew Krishna consciousness, the appearance day of Jesus Christ felt like this, or also his disappearance day. So there were 2 days in the year where I got this experience of closeness to a wonderful personality. And now it's like, there's so many possible days. And I appreciate the pastime you chose. When it's one of the first pastimes I read about Lord Chaitanya, and it had such an impact on my heart. Like I couldn't explain with my mind, but just so much care and love and sweetness in this pastime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's special for me today because it's also my daughter's Anuk's birthday, and I was just meditating. Like usually it's a very sentimental day for me, these birthdays, and so there's a lot of joy and appreciation, and also pain. Like there's pain. Like so she's growing up and she's going into the world, and there's joy and pain about that, and it's something like, I don't know if it's like a women tradition, or at least in my family, it's like a family mother's tradition to think that having a child is the most satisfying, fulfilling thing a woman can experience. I grew up with this, and then becoming a mother was really fulfilling. And at the same time, there's so much pain and suffering and responsibility, and it just came. What came up for me is that it's maybe on a material level, it is. I don't know if it's the most fulfilling for a woman, for me, and it's okay that it passes. Like the children grow up, and there's another life which is even more fulfilling, and that's the life of chanting and relating to Krishna and his devotees, and being in association like here. So this is a very personal sharing, but I wanted to share it.
Thank you, Anandini, and appreciate your appreciation. I have very similar experience of deeper or intensified absorption for the last 3 days. And you could see we have so many opportunities, so many appearance days, disappearance days of devotees of the Lord. The whole Bhagavatam is full of them also. And so in that absorption, you're really joyful, because before in your lives, there was 2 days a year where you could feel that absorption. And then, Srila Prabhupada said that the closest to love of God is the love of a mother for a child. So that's very significant, that the mother's love and those mixed feelings, like there's so much pain in raising a child, so much pain in so much pain in a relationship, so much pain in raising a child, and there is also so much fulfillment and satisfaction and intense emotion all over the place. Really intense emotion all over the place. And then it has an end. It has an end. But glorifying Haridas Thakur and experiencing absorption in that joy of jubilation of glorifying Haridas Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, glorifying all the incarnation of Sri Krishna, glorifying the spiritual master every day, that doesn't have an end. We can do that in this lifetime. We can do that in the next lifetime. We can do that again and again and again. We don't need to end it ever. And it's already eternal. Yeah.
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 Thank you for reflecting.
Yeah, I'm touched that the first chapter you read is the passing away of Haridas Thakur. And there is so much affection and love and sweetness in that pastime. I'm sure it was very overwhelming to just enter, into that kind of exchange between the Lord and his devotees. Yeah.
And I have a question. Did you read that Haridas Thakur is an incarnation of Lord Brahma?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sometimes he's called Brahma Haridas Thakur. He is. There's an interesting story about that. Why Brahma will take birth as a Muslim, and why Lord Brahma, who is coming to assist Lord Chaitanya's pastime, will be taking birth as a Brahman. The response to that question is that Lord Brahma, when he put the cowherd boys inside the cave, they were pure devotees of the Lord, internal associate of the Lord. They had a lot of torment. It was very tormenting for them. And their torment is that they will not see Krishna. And for 1 year, the cowherd boy didn't see Krishna, one of their own year. And so because of the torment that he put the devotee into to separate them from association with Krishna, he was cursed to take birth as a Muslim.
Which was not for very long in his time calculation.
Yeah, I was trying to calculate in my head. I'm sure it's somewhere, but last night I was taking a japa walk and I was trying to calculate. I said, okay, a moment in the life of Brahma is 1 year on earth. So what is a life like of Haridas Thakur, like 60 years, let's say 60 years so is it an hour? Is it 2? Like he took a break to just like a breathing break to just be with Lord Chaitanya, and then he came right back. I was trying to imagine that, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yes, he's Brahma Haridas Thakur. Sometimes he's called Brahma Haridas Thakur because he's Lord Brahma that came and to assist the pastime of the Lord.
Yeah, and I guess when I say it's not very long, I'm thinking of how the gopis, they curse Krishna because he created the eyelids. And when the eyes Krishna, and that's already very painful for them.
Yeah, they curse Vishnu. They don't curse Krishna.
Okay.
Yes, because really what's in a Krishna book is they curse Brahma, the creator of the universe, the engineer of the universe. They curse Brahma, like, you did your job badly. You really did your job badly because of you, we cannot see Krishna all the time because our eyelids kind of preventing us from seeing Krishna. So the engineer of the universe, Lord Brahma, he didn't do his job very well.
I think Brahma probably just spaced out, like from his point of view in his office. He was just like, oh, and then he's back.
With his forehead. Hare Krishna. Yes. Anything else? Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki
Jai. Hariba.
Haribol. I give darshan of Srila Haridas Thakur. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Haribol. Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.